Hi everybody, still here for a very special market update. So let's take a look at some of the current markets and what's going on and what we're expecting. All right, we're going to go through just a few markets. I brought up the Dow Jones and I've got the monthly chart here first. And you can see horizontally we've got a couple of red lines here. I'm going to point those out for you. Right, so you see these red lines across here. That was a critical pivot area from back from 2007 that we ultimately crossed in the summer and late stages of well, actually, it was actually 2013. So that, if we go a little closer, zoom in a little bit more, you can see now the breakout above that area, fairly aggressive. We've never come back to test that area, so at some point that will likely happen, but right now everything still seems fairly bullish. There's a seemingly decent and reasonable bullish, pardon me, a box formation right in here. This was kind of boxed in right here. That's multiple months. As you can see, these are monthly candles. So you've got 6 monthly candles side by side, just essentially going sideways, chopping through this area. We had a couple of different sell signals. We had a dark cloud cover, not the strongest and not the greatest of dark cloud covers. That never was confirmed. We ended up with a bearish engulfing candle in August. That was not confirmed either, as that level of support across 14,800 held on a couple of, several occasions here. Came back through into the 15.5 to 15.6 area. And this is the last candle you see here. This is the current month here of November just starting. So that's just the beginning. So we don't look at that one very closely. So for anything to continue the upside on the bullish side, we'd be looking for a continuation above these highs, above these levels that we've seen. So as you can see again, if I zoom in a little closer, there's a series of highs all the way across here. That range is as high as about 15,720 to 725, and we're not quite at those levels yet. So the all-time highs are not quite met yet, and but we're still going sideways. So I think now to a weekly, you're going to see what I've got here in terms of kind of a channel and range. So there's those red lines again across. You see the moving averages. The red is the 20 week. The fuchsia colored is the 50 week. Down below is the 200 week. And so you see this channel is kind of grinding higher. We had a much more aggressive bullish move before. Right now, everything still looks bullish. We had a support level even more on a weekly basis across here with a hammer formed here back on the week of October 11th that held the series of pivots as well as that level there, and now we're back into the previous highs once again. So a little bit of a pause here as we get into these levels right now, as we just discussed before, and there's still room based on the channel to the upside near 16,000, and 16,000 being such a nice round number. Prices many times can and will gravitate to that if there's room to them. They didn't have a whole lot of room, as you can see, based on the channel design before to get to that level, but now there is room to get there, but it certainly needs more momentum to get to the upside. So no current sell signals, although a little bit of a rejection shown last week with a little bit of an upper shadow confirming resistance across 15,700 from a previous pivot as well. And currently this week right now, just a small little, kind of spinning top doji formation developing at the moment, but nothing, of course, since we're only early in the week, nothing is confirmed yet as we need to complete that candle. So if we quickly go to the daily from here, you're going to see now the activity of the essentially a pivot area. If I put a line right across there, so there's your level of resistance currently right now in the Dow Jones. It's pretty obvious. Those levels are being met on a consistent basis at 15,700. We did get a dark cloud cover just a few days ago, but right now the markets are trying to attempt a rebound and a move back to the upside. It needs to clear and get through and close above 15,700. Then it's got room to that 16,000 target next after that. All right, so let's take a look at the S&P, and we'll go back to the monthly. We're going to do the same exercise here as well. So a lot of similarities. You can see there's the back to the 2007, and I've got two lines there because that goes back even further to 2001 area, 2000 I should say, 2000 and eventually 2007 highs. That's what those are. You see a lot of similarities once again, as I mentioned, the breakout and the move higher. But the S&P a little bit different. The S&P is actually already making new highs and broke out of what appeared to be a kind of a box formation as well. So there you see that the S&P, in fact, was in a channel similar to the Dow, but it's already broken above and then clearing that and kind of gliding along that upper side. Spinning top doji, last week and then forming something similar right now. So a little bit of a pause after a decently aggressive move off the lows near 16,000, 1650. And so a little bit of a pause, price and profit taking going on right now. But everything looks pretty strong at the moment and still bullish for the time being. But a little bit of caution just based on those little formations for the last couple of weeks for the time being, making sure that there's not going to be an um, accelerated selling to the downside. So right now you're still long and still bullish based on the overall pattern, but there might still be a little bit of a pullback that could still occur, of course, based on what we're seeing here right now. Going to the daily, on a more shorter term basis, you can see the aggressive move we had before, breakout as we saw, and a little bit of a sideways kind of grinding choppy action here in the last several days, here in the last week, right at the 1760 area with room above, as you can see, but also support immediately below near 1735, as we discussed in the daily recaps as well. Okay, let's go to the NASDAQ, and we'll do the exact same exercise once again. Looking at the monthly, let me take rid of, I guess get rid of this fib area. Okay, there we go. So there's the monthly. NASDAQ has been an amazing run. So you can see that lower blue line I've got. Those are all the series of lows that were tagged and moved. And then if I were to actually draw a parallel line to that to see if maybe there's a match in terms of a channel, that's kind of what we'll be looking at right there. So you can see we are fast approaching those highs right now on the monthly. So NASDAQ looks pretty good. Started to accelerate. Small real bodies here gets bigger and bigger. Got very accelerated to near the top. Now, of course, this current month is a little quieter as we're still only in the first week of the month of November. But you can see that we're not quite at the highs yet, but we're still very much at the top, near the top of the channel. Last time it did so, it faded pretty hard for a few months on two different occasions. So no telling of it what it's going to do now, but certainly it could just continually glide along the upper side. Let's go to the weekly. And so again, you can see the various channels and lines that we've got near the top. It's got currently on the weekly, it had a bear sash formation that developed. Again, not very large and not very aggressive, and currently, at least for the week, not confirming that either. A little bit of resistance may have been confirmed from a standpoint of a Western technical along with that signal, but it's not a very aggressive, not a very strong, nor very bearish signal currently right now, with immediate support below at 3,900 or so. So that's the NASDAQ on the weekly. Nothing really serious other than it's still long, but being maybe a little bit cautious on the longer term scale. The daily looks as this. Let me back away from here just a little bit. There we are again. Very choppy, multiple spinning top doji formations, gaps higher, gaps lower, going sideways, very sideways action. So very neutral to, of course, a continued bullish look to it because of the fact that it's above channels. It's still above rising moving averages and holding levels of support as you would expect when it pulls back in a bullish trend or a bullish market. On any pullback, there tends to be a support found and immediately a bounce and reversal back to the upside. So currently on this day, we're seeing a little bit of a pullback. We're seeing a bounce from that pullback and a confirmation today for a possible, again, move to a round number of about 4,000 or possibly higher as well. So right now, everything still looks bullish on the long-term trend from the standpoint of a monthly. The weekly, very similar. And the daily looking like it's just essentially resetting itself after a little bit of a pullback in the last few days to weeks. So, okay. All right. Thank you.